on a subject titled, Are You Thirsty? And I'm not talking about water, I'm talking about thirsty, what is defined as being desperate in the Urban Dictionary. Now, the first time I heard that terminology used, I'm like, whoa, what does that mean? And the young man at that time said it means, thirsty, being desperate. When a woman is being desperate for a man's attention. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I decided to go to the Urban Dictionary to really kind of get a feel for what thirsty really means. And it states exactly what he said, is being desperate for the attention of the opposite sex. So desperate that you'll try anything or work way too hard to get their attention, as well as doing sexual favors. And I'm like, man, that's thirsty. And I'm like, okay. So, Marisa had to do some self evaluation. Marisa, have you ever been thirsty? Yes, I have been thirsty. I mean, like, that's what it seems like to me, desperate, to the point where I called one of the situations, I called the guy being desperado. Now, there were two situations I can recall and being thirsty. And I didn't do any sexual favors because I would tell y'all, but I did not. But there was emotions invested, time and energy, and even tears. Because when you want something and it doesn't come out the way you want it, and you get disappointed and you hurt, your feelings get hurt. But I had a role in that. And I'm like, man, and it started at when you starting to get to 30. And I thought I would never be that person, And lo and behold, the 20s are going and, hanging out and doing all the things and, doing what you want to do when you want to do, at least for me. And now you want to settle down or think you do, or it's starting to creep up in your head. And now you're like, oh my gosh, I'm turning 30 or I'm 30. And, then desperado hits in. The second situation was I was in a vulnerable state. I've mentioned this before. I had to take care of my brother and I gave up everything. I mean, literally everything. So I was emotionally and spiritually vulnerable and had a void. And this person came in a time where I would not have chose him. I would not have chose him, but I was vulnerable. And, I guess coupled with a little bit of desperate. So I'm like, yeah, so Marisa have been thirsty. But I wasn't the only one. And this conversation I'm having with you came from talking to another young lady who I had to tell her, look, you look like you're thirsty. So be careful with that. And they had to examine themselves, and they had to realize, yo, you're right. And so this is what sparked the conversation I'm having right now with you. So I wanted to find someone else that was thirsty way before I was born, way before you were born. And how far did I had to go? I had to go in Bible terms. Now I can think of two women, but one I'm gonna talk about that were thirsty. So one lady Leah, I think she was kind of thirsty, where she knew this man didn't want to be with her. He wanted to be with her sister. And even though her father talked her into it, she still allowed herself to be subject to being with a man that did not want to be with her because she was thirsty and up in age. The second woman is the woman of Samaria. That's the one that comes to mind because specifically she was at a well. Now, you know what it feels like to be physically thirsty when you want water and not being able to have any water in sight. Ever went to a festival and it was hot and you was out and you wanted some water, but you couldn't find water, or the water was costing like $5 and the cheapest thing was maybe Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, or you somewhere else and coffee is the only thing available. None of these beverages will quench your thirst like water does. Water is what you need, but you settle in for something else that is similar as relates to beverage. And then here you drink it, and it felt good at the moment, but when you're done, you're like, man, I'm still thirsty. These things left you more thirsty than you were before because of what was in it that was not good. So follow me here. Physical thirst for water, but you settle for something else that you feel is close enough that would do the trick, but after you were done, you still left wanting. So, I'm not just going to talk about physical thirst, but emotional, physical, financial thirst. You ever been thirsty? It doesn't even have to be for a person. You might be thirsty for a job, to finish school, to be somewhere in your life, career-wise, to have a child. You're desperate and you'll do almost anything and everything to get it. And desperate, as relates to the Urban Dictionary, is that you'll do almost anything. And that terminology, as relates to being thirsty, do even sexual favors. So to make this more relatable to you, what areas are you thirsty in? It may not be you're thirsty for companionship, but I believe being thirsty, as it relates to the Webster's Dictionary, as having a need because there's a lack, or having a want, a strong desire. And so I believe a lot of our voids, our strong desires, is really for something else, but we cover it and camouflage it in something else. So let's say you had the desire to be in a relationship, but you're not in a relationship, so you busy yourself or you eat everything because you're emotionally comforting yourself. You pacify with something else because you're not getting what you really want. So follow me here. So hear this woman at the well. You're going to find this story in John chapter 4. John chapter 4 of your Bible. And I have the old King James Version. So you'll hear a lot of thou, hast, something like that. So if you have a NIV or another version, that's fine too. This is what I have. So I'm going to break the story down. So here this woman, the woman of Samaria. She doesn't have a name because I'll talk about her, throw her name in the dirt and everything. So she just called the woman of Samaria. She's from Samaria and she's a woman. She's at the well, okay? She's thirsty. So she has a cup and she's about to draw herself up some well. She probably had a rope, tie it up and bring it down. And, I didn't know how they really did it back then. But she had what she needed to get her some water. So here Jesus shows up to the scene. Now, Jesus is a man. And she had her run-ins with men. So here Jesus comes, who's not supposed to be talking to her, asks her for some water. And I know if it was me, with my little characteristics, I would have been like, now who does brother think he is? Now he really asking me for some water? And he know he's not supposed to be talking to me? What does he really want? What is he trying to get at? Is he trying to get at me? Because I don't need this right now. So I'm just adding a little spice to it. So here it is. She's probably trying to figure out who is this brother and why is he asking me for some water, because he's not supposed to be talking to me. And that's what she tells Jesus. You're not supposed to be talking to me. You're not, because our people don't mix together. So why are you talking to me? And he said to her, look, now Jesus is a little better than that. So he said very kindly to her, if you knew the gift of God. Now there's something that she needed to know, and she did not. He said, if you knew the gift of God, and he said to her, if you knew the gift of God, and who is it that say to you, give me to drink, and you know who is talking to you, you would have been asking me for some water, and I would give it to you. Not only just water, living water. He said, if you knew who you were talking to, and I want you to break it down, just look at it really, really good. What is it that we don't know about God? What is it that we're not trusting in him for to give us, that we got to go get it somewhere else or try to get it on our own? What is it that we're lacking in knowledge of his greatness, his capabilities? So he said, if you knew who I was and what I had to offer you, he has a gift to offer her, to you, to me. He has something to offer us. And if we would just ask, he said, if you would just ask, I would give you what you're looking for. I would give it to you. Sometimes we just don't want to wait, though. Okay, so here it is in verse 11 of that same chapter, John 4. The woman said, well, okay, I hear you. But as it looks to me, you don't have, not to be rude, you don't have a cup to draw your water. So where would you be getting this water? Where would you be getting this water? Jesus, where would you be getting this water? And he said, are you greater than? So here she is trying to figure out, pick his mouth, trying to find out who he really is. Are you greater than so-and-so that you say that I should be asking you, or you have water to give me? That's what I'm thinking. And so verse 13, Jesus answered and said unto her, whosoever drink of the water that you're drinking from. So I'm breaking it down. So hopefully you have your Bible to know the words. But he's basically saying to her in verse 13, the water that you're drinking from, you're gonna be left thirsty. You're still gonna want some more. But he said, but you see, whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him. In her case, her. In our case, us. Whosoever shall drink of the water that I shall give shall never thirst again. But the water that I shall give shall be unto him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. So here it is. Jesus is saying, look, the water over there that you're drinking ain't going to satisfy you. You still going to want more. But see, the water I have to give you, ain't nothing like it. You will put like this. You will never, ever, 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 ever thirst again. So it gets good. So the woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water. What you waiting for? She says, look, give me this water. So I don't have to thirst again. I don't have to walk to the well, run to the well, slide by the well. I don't have to do anything. I can have water that will never allow me to thirst again. Are you serious? Because if you're serious and you're really serious and you're telling the truth, then I want that water. Matter of fact, I want it right now. When somebody has something good to offer you that is out of this world, sometimes we like, nah, he ain't gonna do it. He's not gonna satisfy my needs. He's not gonna help me. He's not gonna fulfill my void. He's not gonna bless me. I know he not, because I know my life. There's no way that he could give this to me. So we doubt. But she said, you know what? I want this. I could doubt, but if you have it for real, I want it. And he said to her, well, okay, I don't have a problem with that. I'm adding some words. I don't have a problem with that. Go call your husband, verse 15, to come here. And the woman answered, okay. No, she's probably thinking, okay, this man gonna ask me about my husband. I don't have no husband. Why he's trying to get my business? Okay, look, I don't have a husband. I have no husband. And Jesus said unto her, you answered correctly. It actually says, thou hast well said, but I'm giving you the plain English because I have the old King James Version. He says, you answered correctly that you have no husband. But what I know is that you have 5 husbands. And the one you with now, he's not your husband. And that you have said truly. So I could just imagine now I'm not going to get this water. I don't even deserve this water. I shouldn't get this water because this guy knows my sins. Yes, Jesus knows our sins, but it doesn't stop him from wanting to give us something more, something that would satisfy us, to fulfill that void, to fill that void, to take away the pain, to give peace. God has something for us because we want something more. But sometimes what he has for us is not what we're looking for in that package. We want a husband or a wife, and we're kind of desperate and thirsty for that. But God is saying, well, I have my peace. Because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, God got a husband just waiting for you at the corner of the door. Just look out and 5 days you're going to get it. No, I want to be also practical because he could do that. But he could also say, you know what? Instead of giving you a spouse right now, I want to give you joy. I want to give you joy in the state that you're in now. I want to give you peace in the state that you're in now. I want you to learn to utilize me as your water. You see all these men you with, all these women that you've been chasing or been with, you see all this money you've been after, the careers you've been trying to get and chase the corporate ladder. Where have it got you? You're still single. You're still chasing. You're still empty. So what does that tell you? I remember a girlfriend of mine. She looked like to me like she had it all. So to my surprise, when she came to me and said, Maricia, I thought having all these things, she got the career, the degree, the house, the relationship. She said, I never thought I would still be unhappy. I remember Bobby Brown also saying, in the height of his career, he had everything, movie deals, song, records going platinum, awards, all the females, entourage. And he said he never felt so lonely. Specific words, he said he felt a void. God fills voids. He allowed voids in our life for us to get to a place where we said, okay, I tried everything else. I tried drugs. I tried sex with all these people. I tried making all this money, working overtime 24/7, but I'm still empty. He wants us to get to that realization that, the answer is God. God can fill that void. He wants us to get there. So he allows the emptiness and the void so that we get to a place where the light bulb clicks and we say, God, I need God. There was something for the woman to realize with her encounter with Jesus. This man was not offering physical water. He was offering something more. She was looking at something to satisfy her physically. I'm not sure she was married to these men, but I can gather that these men, she had relations as if she was married to them. Because the type of relations that she had with them, which was sexual relations, was one that you would have only with your husband. But yet she was having these relationships that was supposed to be with men that she was married to, but she was having these relations with men that weren't her husband. She was trying to satisfy something physically when God said, look, I have something that can satisfy you both physically and spiritually. No physical man can do that. Nothing material can do that. And I know we just are how we are, but God said I can change that. I know where you've been. I know what you've done. I know what you chased. I know what you said. And I know everything, but forget that. Here's what I have to offer. Do you accept? I'm not here to rebuke you. I'm not here to cast you out. I'm here to offer you. If you would just connect with me every day like you need water. You need water every day. So guess who you need every day? You need God every day. So you have to be satisfied. You have to quench your thirst every day by drinking water. You have to satisfy your longing by connecting with God every day. He will satisfy you. I guarantee it if you allow him. Allow him. Tell him that you're thirsty. Tell him, yes, you're thirsty. And he said, good. I got some water that can satisfy that. He is that water. So if you feel a void, talk to him, commune with him. Be honest. Lord, I don't know what you're going to do, but I need you. And this is what I've been doing, but you know that. And I'm glad to know that despite of where I've been and what I've done, you're still offering me something better. This is Marisa Anglais. Check John chapter 4, 1 through 19. Continue to read on. Know Jesus for yourself and realize that he is that living well of water. Jesus is that for you and me, for all of us. Until next time, this is Marisa Anglais with God's Power Couple.